Okay, Nikki is the one that's got me scared. I may have written myself into a corner with Nikki. Nikki was Cajun, had a thick Cajun accent, but it was lyrical. It was beautiful to listen to her talk. She turned herself out, went to work when she was around 14 years old, came to Atlanta because Atlanta was the Mecca. Nikki is the character that I would very much, that maybe I'm limited thinking. There's only about, in my opinion, 2 or 3 women that can play Nikki. My first choice would be Dakota Fanning. Dakota would be perfect for it. She's got the chops and she can play the part. A backup to Dakota would be Ellen Page from Canada. And then the third is a little girl you're probably not familiar with named Micah Borum. She played in the movie Along Came a Spider. But at the time she was a little girl. Well, she's not a little girl anymore. She's in her 20s. So Micah could do it because I've watched her. And she's got the chops for it. Nikki had a very specific philosophy. She didn't take any crap off of anybody. And she was completely trustworthy, but she was fun to be around because there's a scene in the movie called Porcupine, and it's where Alex is transitioning Nikki into being what was called a diamond girl. She was going to take her in off the streets and set her up in the bordello, which was at the penthouse. And all of that took place. My office was in the William Oliver building at 5 Points. Right next to the William Oliver building was at that time the tallest building in Atlanta, which was the NBG building. And on the top of the NBG building was a restaurant called the Top of Peachtree. And we had dinner up there. And Nikki was scared to death because she didn't know how to deal with all the silverware. And Alex said, don't worry about it, I'll tell you what to pick up. So it was like going to school, but except we were at dinner. And it was the first time that Nikki had ever had Chateaubriand. And it opened up a whole world for her. And that was the night that Alex and I split up because Alex was getting ready to retire. I didn't want her to retire. And she said, well, I'm going to go my way and you're going to go your way. So Alex drove a Maserati, and she had given the keys to Nikki, and that was the first time that Nikki had driven the Maserati. But that was a transitional time for Nikki. Getting back to Nikki for a second, Nikki was very smart. She was very cunning. She would go down to the Peachtree Manor around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Peachtree Manor knew exactly what was going in the hotel. Nikki would rent a room. Okay, during the evening and during the night, she had the key, and that was where she would turn her tricks. But if she was going to take a time out or business was slow, she would rent the key out to another streetwalker. So she would make money on the room. Well, as it would turn out at the end of each evening, generally speaking, she got the room for free, plus maybe would pick up $50 or $100. That was the way her mind worked. But all of those girls, with the exception of Nikki, were college educated. Nikki was still in high school. She hadn't even gotten to a point of saying, yes, I'm going to go to college, or no, I'm not. But she wound up going to school. She would go during the day. Can't tell you the school because that would tie it back to Nikki. And then, as you know from the script, Nikki killed a guy, and the only defense for it was he needed killing. He absolutely needed killing. Well, that defense won't work in court. So that was a whole big story. That's one reason I have to be so careful about Nikki. Mm-hmm. I gave her the last name of LaFont, which was my mother's maiden name. My mother was Cajun. So that was where the name Nikki LaFont, and that's as far away from her name as you can possibly get. But she does live on the Gulf Coast. Of course, that's a big area. That pulls in 5 states. Mm-hmm. So she's safe.